I have dollars more to my name today than I did yesterday. I'm nobody special. I don't have a college degree. I should not be able to do this. If you feel like you're lost, you don't think that it's realistic because you don't know anyone else personally that's doing it. I know what that feels like. At that point, I could have given up, but I didn't.
I put a floor on my spine, that little baby, she told me that I gotta do better. Stuck in my ways and I'm never gonna change. You can hate on me, young and I know better.
Alright guys, we're back with another video and update since the last video I posted. I haven't signed any additional clients and I am just doing regular client work. If I'm being completely honest with you, I've fallen victim to TikTok brain for the past week and have not been getting as much work done as I've been wanting to. So I have a call that I'm supposed to be taking in about 15 minutes. And this is with someone who I just randomly met through the gas station. I had a Psalm 34 shirt on and he just complimented it. We got to chatting and turns out he actually is building a lot of local apartments here and was interested in knowing more about my services and what I do and results and things like that. So I don't really know if this is going to go anywhere. I don't know to what scale or extent he's currently operating at. So I don't know if my service would be something that he'd reasonably be willing to pay for. But that's what this call is for. So I have to edit some other videos and then I have a plan for signing another client in the future. Hello?
Isaac, how are you, sir? I'm sorry I said Isaac, I meant to say Ryan.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
I knew I was calling, but my mind's been blank for a second.
No, you're all good.
Like, you're kind of fresh out of the 9 to 5, right?
Right, yeah. So I'm officially like 7 months in, so still figuring out how to do everything on my own and hopefully higher in the future.
If you had to do over again, would you have left sooner?
No. I would not have. I honestly left as soon as I possibly could. As soon as I secured enough monthly income off of what I'm doing now, I just left. I don't think I would do it any differently just because if I did leave any earlier, I don't know if it'd be the smartest idea. So
I'm asking that question because I actually had a friend, he said the only thing that I would have done differently in my career is I'd have left my job sooner. I asked him why, and he said, yes, it was hard to let go of the cash flow like I was paid for my job.
Right.
But I didn't realize how much it was stifling my creativity and my capacity to be able to actually go create wealth outside of my job. So,
no, absolutely makes sense. And I completely agree. Once I left the stress and the time commitment of my current job, I was able to clearly see a path to what I wanted to achieve through, my business.
what are you doing?
I was a restaurant server at Aubrey's. Good people over there, but it was time to move on.
Well, good for you, man. What's been your biggest discovery in the last 7 months of being out on your own?
It's hard to pinpoint just one. A lot of it's been learning how to manage different aspects of my life, keeping business in the forefront, but not allowing my business to overstep my relationship with God. That's been a big one. Also finding ways to clear my mind and take my mind off of the stress of what I'm doing now has also been difficult. I mean, I've been learning a bunch, big changes, and nothing but grateful for being able to do what I'm doing now.
Do you think you could have stayed at your job longer?
I could have, but I would not have been able to scale at all, I don't think.
I agree with that. I mean, I don't know your day-to-day, but that is very logical. So in 7 months, have you been able to grow like you wanted to?
Yes, more than I had originally expected. I invested in a mentorship of other people that are ahead of me and who actually inspired me to go ahead and do what I had already done up to that point. And they personally helped me put a lot of the systems in place in order to be prepared to scale. So I always knew that those things were possible, but until I actually saw other people my age doing it and other people getting better results than what I'm doing and teaching me, helping me along the way, it opened up my eyes to what was really possible and how I can transform businesses through my service.
And that is great.
It's been well worth the investment, to say the least.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure you realize this, but just from an outsider's perspective, hearing what you're telling me, that is so valuable for you to be plugged into. I don't necessarily know that those resources aren't available to more people, but very few people actually take full advantage of it and then put the work in behind it. It's like paying for a gym membership and staying fat.
Right.
A lot of people do that. Well, if you're investing in that and taking it seriously and putting the action behind it, man, good for you.
Honestly, to answer your question from earlier, that is probably the biggest thing that I learned, because I spent 2 years here basically trying to convince myself that I was being productive and making progress. And once I came across someone else my age actually doing it and showing other people that it's possible, like something flipped in my brain, and I was like, you know what, there's no reason why I shouldn't be doing this. Let me just actually commit to it. Once I committed, it just kind of went from there. For what you're talking about though, because it is a bit more niche, just from what I'm hearing now, what I would suggest is more of a strategy that tailors both organic and paid social media content. Organic just means it's completely free, like pulling up your phone, having a video, and just posting it. And then paid is obviously running advertisements. The reason why I would suggest something that covers both is because in order to build trust on social media, your content is your reputation. Also, it's important to stay relevant by continually having things to post and keep your business or product or service constantly on people's minds. And that's where organic content comes in. Paid content on social media is necessary because that's able to hyper target those super niche buyers that you're looking for. Whenever they see your ad, if they go to your account, you have no following, your content looks trashy, it doesn't really speak to them and their specific pain points, it's a lot less likely for them to actually go through with some sort of conversion or trust you to buy from you. I have been able to see how that strategy has gotten people down to less than $1 per lead using a combination of both paid and organic traffic, which these people are selling 4-figure offers, and in order to get people into a 4-figure offer for less than $1 per lead, your overall profit is absolutely ridiculous. So it's a super efficient model. Social media is absolutely insane what it's able to do if you do it correctly. Something like that would take a little bit of a testing phase just to make sure that we're targeting the right people before we go ahead and scale up anything or throw ridiculous amounts of money towards it, because we want to make sure that it works first before we do anything stupid or over the top. I'd like to talk to you more in person about it just so I have all the information I need on my end, but that's initially what I would recommend. Okay, so it's about an hour and a half later, and I was able to put together a completely new strategy for this potential client that I've been on and off with. I wrote out a brand new Miro board and also went through explaining the updates that I've made in order to get better results with less posting frequency. Unfortunately, my computer is getting low on battery, so I'm gonna head back, but I also have to get a few more videos done tonight for current clients. I've been procrastinating and slacking off on it, and I need to get a bunch done just so that I can get ahead of things and be flexible enough to deal with this client if things end up going through. So it's been a while since I've actually touched base with this client, and we've been on and off in communication, so I'm interested to see if we'll even get a response at this point or how quickly we will, but now we just wait and see, and I will keep you guys updated. It's been a few days. I ended up getting a response from that potential client. I'm actually about to run to Starbucks and hop on a call with him. We're going to talk about more of the details. He said he had a few questions about the deal and the structure that we're kind of agreeing at, so I'm gonna work it out with him. Hopefully we sign on to a 6-month or a 1-year deal. But I'm sitting here with Delion, one of my good friends. We grew up playing travel basketball together, and now we're both back here in Chattanooga. He's had some recent success with some day trading, and we're talking about potentially rolling out a content strategy for him in the future. I personally follow a few people that have gotten into day trading, like, Justin, big fan of him, and a few other people. And I think a lot of people have some misconceptions about day trading. We just talked about there are a lot of people that see it almost as gambling, right? Straight up. And they treat it as gambling too, right? They make money and then they lose money. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions you think people have about day trading? And would you suggest it to someone who is looking to escape the 9-to-5, and why? Would you or would you not?
Yeah, I would most definitely recommend it. Day trading, you can decide how much money you make, when you make it, where you make it, how you make it. I mean, it's really an industry where there is no limit to the amount of money you make. And I know a big thing with the 9-to-5 is that you're given a set pay, you're given a clock, you gotta clock in on someone else's clock. And if you don't want to keep living that life, I mean, obviously going to that job isn't going to get you those results. So the main thing I would say is, especially if you're going to be a trader, you have to be able to take risks. And like he said, there are misconceptions about trading. Look at it as a business, because it is a business. You are the business. Don't trade as if you're trying to gain a bunch of money and flip money. Look at it long term. A lot of people have a short-term mindset going into trading, and really a short-term mindset going into a lot of things. You have to have a long-term mindset going into it, because the reality is, when you first learn it, you're probably going to lose money, but you have to look at it, business expenses. Most businesses, especially entrepreneurs that are starting out, they lose money in the beginning anyway. So you just have to, grind, man, learn. And obviously you're going to make money from the market, but the main determinant of whether you make money is yourself. So if you can learn to cut your vices out, then you can make a lot of money trading. I started around 3 years ago now, and I've had, like you said, some recent success. I started off, I was down about $3,000 in credit card debt, and I was able to turn that around, obviously leveraging my credit card while I was in college. I was able to get about a $10K payout. It's just been rolling from there. Put that money in a personal account, just growing it, and still trading prop firm accounts. So like you said, I'm looking to, start teaching people how to do it, get to this point, get the Discord rolling out.
Let's do it.
And go from there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I think what he said carries over to a lot of different areas of life too, and we talked about how long you can delay gratification in anything that you're doing, and especially in an industry like day trading where people are so antsy on just making money and then they blow it instantly, and what that looks like. And in business in general, with some of the success that I found along the way, growing social media accounts for people and learning how to monetize audiences, it wasn't just, I picked up a camera and was able to do it. There's a lot of delayed gratification that goes into it. And, working a day job for 2 years to save up money and then finally being able to quit it 2 years later. Learning how to become the person that can get those results for people, but then also, like we said, hold on to that money and use it as leverage for the future. So you might be seeing him more often in the future. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna go run, get some content edited, and then hopefully hop on that call and give you guys a rundown of that. So appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir.
Let's run it.
Yes, sir.
Since it's been a few days since I've gone back through that strategy, I'm just refreshing myself. He told me to shoot him a call whenever he's available. So there's a chance I just call him and he doesn't answer. If that happens, we'll just follow up again in the future. I'm hoping that this does go through, obviously. If this specific deal does go through, this would put me at 10K a month, which would be a huge goal. If not, I'm still gonna crank some work out here. This is completely unrelated, but for me personally, I've learned that my environment really dictates my mindset and my ability to consistently get things done. And what I mean by that is I've learned that if I'm sitting at my computer in my room, then I have absolutely no motivation to get anything done, and my phone ends up being an absolutely huge distraction for me, where I spend so much useless time just scrolling, whether it's on Instagram Reels or TikTok, or just messing around on my phone. And I'm realizing that I'm spending a lot of wasted time on my phone whenever it could be applied scaling my business and my clients' brands as well. So I've found that if I simply just go and work in public wherever it is, it could be in a coffee shop here or at a bar or a hotel, as long as other people are able to visibly see me, I'm able to put all distractions aside and just lock in and get work done. And I think it's partly because I can't have people looking at me and see me scroll on my phone out in public, because that's cringe, and who wants to do that, right? I'm not an NPC, so So if I'm in public, it helps me put away distractions and actually focus on what I need to get done. So either way, if he doesn't answer, I'm going to be here until they close and just grinding out content, and then also creating and scripting out content ideas for a shoot that I have tomorrow. So I'm going to call him real quick, see if he answers, and if not, putting the camera away and just focusing up on work. Okay, so I need to be really real with you guys here. This is me coming in after I've already put this entire video together, and I've had this video sitting here completely done for about a week, and I've been considering just not posting it altogether because I don't want to be the person that puts wealth and success over God, even if it is subtly. So what I'm about to show you is how much money I made in a singular day, not to flex or to come off as trying to glorify myself, but to show you guys what is really possible through starting something like this and committing to it. Because I remember watching other people when I grew up, and that was an absolutely massive contributor to all of my major life decisions up until this point. My decision not to go to school, my decision to move across the country by myself, my decision to stick with pursuing a business after 2 years of failing, it all was because of watching other people growing up. And I'm still continuing to chase after greater goals because I believe that there's still a way to pursue excellence, even if it's monetarily, while still keeping Christ at the center. And I want you guys to hold me accountable to that as well. So I know that these numbers aren't necessarily normal, but it's not about the numbers themselves. It's about showing you what God has been able to do through my life ever since I have let go and trusted Him along this entire process. And I'm still in the process of learning how to surrender more and more of that to others as I continue to grow my business. And so over the past few days of sitting with this video, I've learned that it's not as much about hitting this monetary goal. It's more about learning how to become the person that is able to steward that money to glorify others through Christ and not myself. And that's difficult. So my goal isn't necessarily just to make more money, it's to be more faithful and disciplined with that money that God has given me. And that I never become blind to how many people are in need of what I might be able to give. So this isn't necessarily about achieving your dream life. It's about completely dying to oneself in order to fully live out Christ's mission for you, whatever that means in your life. So if you are in a position where you feel a pull between pride, comfort, and desire, and Christ and humility, just know that I am there too. But I'm not confident in settling for the version of success that the world has to offer, because up until this point, it's done nothing but negative things for me. So I am going to try my best to use this in order to be faithful to Christ, even if it's not comfortable, because He really is that worth it. So my conscience can be put to rest now. Let's continue with the video. I just spent the entire night going on a walk, talking directly into my phone, figuring out what my goals for the next 3 to 6 months actually look like and how I plan on achieving those. And so after consolidating my thoughts, using ChatGPT a little bit for help, I came up with this right here, which is my plan to reach $20,000 a month. After talking with one of my mentors, I had originally been planning on setting a $15K per month goal by the end of 3 months, and he challenged me to hit $20,000 per month recurring revenue. I don't think it's gonna be easy, but I remember that the steps that I had to take to get to where I'm at now required me to be so delusionally confident that I looked like an absolute psychopath to the average person. And after months of work, it finally paid off. And so I want to share something with you guys. I'm not showing this because I want you to think that I'm some sort of crazy individual. I'm showing you this because I want to prove to you that anybody can do this as long as you just stick to it and figure it out and push through when everyone else gives up. So one day after putting this together, this is what we're looking at. I'm gonna refresh so that you know I'm not lying to you. Today, we did $2,500 on Stripe and also had a check come in same day, $2,600. Guys, this is all real. Like, I have $5,000 more to my name today than I did yesterday. All because I learned a skill, I figured out how to provide value to other people using that skill, and I committed to it. I made promises to people, I backed it up with results, and I proved not only to other people, but to myself that I have something of value to offer other people. I'm nobody special. I don't have a college degree. I graduated high school 3 years ago. I should not be able to do this. And this just goes to show you that if you have something that you are chasing in your life and you think that everyone thinks that you're crazy for believing you can achieve something like that, you don't think that it's realistic because you don't know anyone else personally that's doing it. But you see all these things online. In order to achieve something that nobody else has achieved, you have to do things that other people around you aren't doing. Look at the people that you spend the most time with. What are they doing? And what do their lives look like? If they are not imitating the life that you want, then you should not be doing those same things that they're doing. If you want to live a different way and achieve something different from your life, you have to be doing things that those people are doing. They're not scrolling on their phone. They're not playing video games. They are working nonstop. And unfortunately, there's this big misconception online with how entrepreneurship is portrayed on social media, where it looks like, millionaires just throwing money around, enjoying a summer day on their yacht. But what you don't realize is that to grow a business, it takes grinding and separating yourself from all of the other things that you used to do. You have to reprogram your brain, destroy limiting beliefs that have been holding you back your entire life, form habits that actually will get you from point A to point B, and actually working through step by step. And every time you hit a roadblock, you push through it when everyone else would have given up. There's so many roadblocks that I've hit along the way where I could have given up at any point. The first thing I did with this camera right here, the first business I walked into, I walked in with my camera shaking in my hand, asking the owner if I could shoot them a free video. They agreed. They ended up not even posting the video. And at that point, I was really down on myself because I wasn't convinced that I could add value to people. I wasn't convinced that I actually had something to offer that other people wanted. But I did not stop. I analyzed that video, I figured out how I could improve on what I had just created, and I continued going from business to business offering free videos until finally I offered a video, sent it over, and immediately got a text back saying, "We want to work with you. Come in tomorrow." And I signed my first contract for $500 a month for a 6-month period. A week later, I signed my second contract and I quit my job. There is no reason why anyone else shouldn't be able to do this or whatever they want to achieve in life. A year ago, I just bought this camera. I touched my first camera for the first time ever. I couldn't even tell you how to turn this thing on a year ago. Skills are learned and developed. If you want something, you can be taught it. You can get better at it. You can learn that skill. So again, if you feel like you're lost and you don't know where to start and you feel like everybody else is against you, everyone else is doubting you, your friends and family aren't confident in you, you don't even know if it's gonna work out, everyone else that has gotten to the point that you want to be at has been in that position and knows what that feels like. I know what it feels like to tell my family that I don't intend on going to college and seeing them look back at me completely disappointed. I know what that feels like. At that point, I could have given up, but I didn't. When I got turned down by multiple businesses saying that they don't want my free content, I could have given up, but I didn't. So the next time you're scrolling on social media and you see that type of content, just know that in order for that person to get to that position that they're in, they had to spend months to years of their life just being consumed with working, grinding, perfecting a craft, learning how to offer it to other people, learning how to sell that offer to people, learning how to deliver on what they promised. Everyone has had to go through it, with the only exceptions being maybe crypto and gambling. Like, everyone else has had to go through it. Entrepreneurship is not partying 24/7. It is telling your friends that you can't go out because you have a business to run. It is making sure that you are mentally ready to handle all of these things that come with running a business. It's learning skills and offering value in a way that you never could have comprehended years ago. And finally, again, If you do not have your eyes set on God before any of this other stuff, you're gonna feel lost. You're not gonna have any motivation to do anything with yourself. You're gonna go back and revert to your old habits, and you are going to risk all of the progress that you've already made up until that point. Because I'm telling you, money itself does not fix any of your problems. I thought it did. The reality is, it doesn't. I have the same problems, if not just amplified with more stress in my life now than I did back then, 7 months ago. But that's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Earlier today, I had a call with this potential client I've been going back and forth with for months, and he gave me verbal commitment to a 3-month contract. However, he needs to get some other things in place with someone else who he's also working with before we actually roll something out with him. So we have verbal commitment for $10K per month, which is pretty crazy to say, but we're not stopping there. We're gonna keep going. I appreciate every single person who's taken the time to watch this. I hope that my life and my journey has some sort of value for you guys. I know whenever I was just starting out, I would watch people document their journey, and I just never thought it would be realistic. I never actually saw myself being able to do it. I didn't know what it looked like, what it felt like. If those people are thinking the same thing I am, they are. So I hope that this helps you, and stay tuned for Road to 20K per month. Peace.